So a while back, my dad got a new truck. This used to be his old truck. It's a 1993 Isuzu Pickup truck. It's just really basic. It's got the 5-speed transmission in it. This truck, seems like all these trucks had one kind of option that they had on it. This one in particular had air conditioning, whereas it doesn't have it on it currently. The compressor's pulled off of it, but I have another friend that has one of these, and his has power steering on it, nothing else. You know, we've got one other truck that has got, I can't even remember what the other option is on that truck. So, any which way, this one's pretty cool. It's in fairly good shape. I'll give you kind of the walk around here in just a second. But once again, it's a 93 Isuzu. It's got the 4ZD1, which is a 2.3 liter motor. This was actually the last vehicle sold in North America that was still carbureted from the factory. And so you can imagine this thing went all the way in 94 with still a carburetor on it, whereas everything else on the road had went to fuel injection. So you imagine the federal government was so hard on them, it was probably ridiculous to keep this thing just even going. So it's very rare to find any of these trucks that still have all the original stuff on it and still running good. This truck has had a few little modifications to it already. I'll show you those here in just a second. Let me get up under the hood and I'll show you what it's got under there. Here it is under the hood. Everything with the engine's pretty fairly stock with the exception of the intake system. This one's been equipped with a Weber. I'll have to get the exact specs on what size Weber it is and all that, but it's one of the Redline kits that you can buy. The motor's been pulled out once already. It was kind of stuck back together with some stock size stuff after like a dingle ball hone was run through it. And it's always been extremely loose right from the get-go. None of the clearances were checked. I mean, this is like one of the first engines I ever like took apart and pulled the pistons out of and all that. So I mean, it was more of a learning experience and just something to put under my belt. This was years ago when he got this truck, and he's just kind of ran this thing until, you know, got by with it until it just pretty much quit running altogether when he got that new truck. I've since kind of went over it and looked at it a little bit as I just stepped in an anthill. I noticed that, you know, the coolant system is just completely empty. It is also full of a bunch of muck, you know, something similar to like a head gasket issue. He kept telling me that it kept fouling plugs terribly when he was running it. He even tried putting like non-foulers on it and stuff like that. When I've tried to crank it since it's been here, it just has absolutely no compression. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull the head off of it. These things are also pretty bad about burning valves. I actually have another head for one of these motors up at my work. So if all this goes to plan, I'm just going to pull this head off, make sure that the block's good and straight and hasn't been completely nicked out, where I got to resurface the block. If all that checks out, I'll put this other head on it and hopefully get this thing running, because tell you the truth, I mean, it's just, I'm sure you guys know this, every guy kind of needs a pickup truck at times, especially down here on the farm. We put a new house in, you know, a little over a year ago, and we're still, you know, getting everything built. You know, I've tried to do a lot of things myself, and once we got the actual house put up, I've, you know, been a little bit slower in my pace. You know, we still got a back deck I got to build, a few other little things, and, you know, having a pickup truck where I can go haul lumber without going and borrowing something will just be a tremendous help. So this will be my agenda for the day, is hopefully get this head pulled off, see what damage has been done, and then hopefully get some gaskets in order and try to get this thing pieced back together. So I'll give you some quick shots of the interior on this thing. You know, these trucks were pretty basic from the factory. It was kind of a minimalistic design. They made a big thing about you could see through the headrest, so you had really good visibility. You look at all the ads for it, except for all the crazy Joe Isuzu ads, which are freaking awesome, by the way. But You know, you can look at the typical layout of the Speedo. You know, is all real basic, you know, pretty typical of the time period for Japanese stuff and even a lot of domestic stuff. It's got pretty cool features where you can, you know, address all the controls as far as the headlights and the wipers and stuff all from your fingertips without having to take your hands off the wheel. So, I mean, space age type stuff, man. It does have air conditioning as an option. We'll have to go and, you know, of course, get all that put back together. Man, check out this awesome Kenwood from like who knows when. And of course, you know, my dad, he's a mechanic, so he's got to, of course, got to build him some kind of crazy weighted non-vibrating fan for his dashboard, of course. Man, check this thing out. What is that? Cotton candy. Sure, boy. Got the old ridiculously long shifter that like comes out of the radio just about. And you know, good old American couch seat. You know, them's good for sitting. It's also got a nice toolbox. Already came on it. May leave it on there, may not. You know, I kind of like the idea of being able to put a bunch of stuff in the bed, except for garbage, which of course it's got in it now from sitting in the yard. But having a longer bed will just, you know, totally help. Seems like when you put one of these boxes in, it's good to like throw crap in and store stuff in, but you just lose all your bed space. These trucks, actually, if you look back in the day, it was a huge option to put a rear bumper on any of these trucks, even any of the little small mini trucks. So I guess this one's all optioned out. It's got a nice bumper on it already with the tow ball on it. You know, I may end up putting a receiver hitch on it if I actually want to tow something with it. I hate pulling anything off of a bumper, but yeah, just a real basic pickup truck. Pulled it up onto the gravel out of the old nasty ant-infested grass with the help of co-pilot buddy boy. Did you drive that truck? Yeah. Pulled it with the almighty fuck ass. Hoorah! Alright, so get the radiator fan pulled out, get the upper hose, finishing taking off all the vacuum lines and all that so I can get to the valve cover and get it out of there. All pretty basic stuff right now. And boy, I did not intend on it being this hot today. Here in Alabama, it is like ridiculously humid today. So I'm dying. A little bit more took apart. Sun's. Check it out. It's Grandpa showed up. What year's your truck?
86.
86. It's like the truck that looks completely different until you look under the hood, then it's exactly the same. But you get the same Weber that I do and everything,
yep.
Don't you?
Yep.
Wild. Oh yeah. Whoop!
Beat 'em up pickup truck.
Look at that big.
Oh yeah. Nothing's complete without some Miata seats. What generation are these? Some NBs or?
Yes, NBs.
Sweet. No Nardi wheel though.
No, that's nice.
Gangster. Alright, just lifted the head off. Everything looks fairly decent, I guess. Some of these head bolts weren't even tight, so it definitely explains why it blown the head gasket so badly. None of the valves even look burnt in the head either, so I think it was just incredibly blown head gasket. Also, you can even see all this schmutz. It almost looks like cat litter, which is actually just burnt coolant sitting in here in the cylinders. So we'll get the new head and get it bolted up, see what we got. Left the intake on it. Figured it'd be a little easier. I even got halfway through taking the P-bolts out and stuff before I realized I was going to do it that way. But you can see those stupid non-foulers my dad stuck in there. But, right there you can see, if it'll focus, how badly it was blown. In this portion of the head is also where the oil gets pressurized into the head too, so I imagine it was burning a lot of the oil through that portion.